Hello, everyone that can hear the sound of my lovely, amazing, chunky voice. Welcome back to another alchemical episode of the best darn show on the internet, the Sharon Show. Yay, we did it again.
Yay.
Episode 158. We made it. That's a 14, that's a 5. It's the Hierophant. Oh,
Ooh,
maybe I'll pull that when I go to pull a card. I'll,
ooh.
I'll shuffle in front of everyone so they don't think I'm setting this up. Anyway, what's up, Sharon? How's it going? We have another premiere today for everybody,
Yes, we do.
and
We
it
got stuff
looks
to do.
looks like your background's a little different.
Yes, it is. I am in New Jersey right now, going to a wedding at the weekend. So,
Amazing. I'm going to a wedding too. What is? But I go to weddings every weekend, so what a life I have,
what a
right? I was saying that to
coincidence.
someone the
Just
other
kidding.
day. I think I was saying it to a maitre d' or whatever. They're like, "Wow, you're a pretty chill DJ or something like that." I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, like, a lot of DJs are a little uptight. I'm like, I used to be more uptight, but then I'm like, I realized I'm at a party every weekend, like at the best day of these people's lives, probably. It's like, why am I going to be uptight?
Yeah,
But anyway, I think it's the show and the self work and all that stuff help too.
for sure.
Um, yeah. So, well, I have a quote. Let's not do what we did last week. Go check out last week's episode, everyone, if you haven't. It was a really good one. We just kind of did a rant. We planned on doing the Alchemist, but we just kept talking, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. So we do have a good quote today, though. There you go. Do you want to read it today? And I'll pull the card.
I can do that.
Perfect.
Let's see. It is showing.
Can you see it?
Yeah, it's just
Oh.
that the bottom is cut off because of the bottom buttons down here. It's okay, though. I'll figure
Oh
it
yeah. See that's what happens to me sometimes when I share, or it'll put another. I told you this before. It'll put
That's
some
okay. I
other
have the name
logo.
here, so I'll there. Oh, somehow it disappeared now. Okay. All right.
You know what
True.
it was? Zoom heard you talking, and it.
Yeah. It was like, oh, I'll do that for you. It has AI built in now. All right, here's the quote for today. It says, true alchemy lies in this formula. Your memory and your senses are but the nourishment of your creative impulse. There you go.
Yeah.
Arthur Rimbaud. I don't know how to pronounce that. Rimbaud. Rimbaud. Is it French?
Rimbaud or Rimbaud, yeah. Either way, thank you for this lovely quote, Arthur. I almost said author. Arthur. I was looking at the U when I was saying it. Yeah, I love this because memory and senses are nourishment, right? So, yeah, what's everybody thinks their senses are prime, right? That's the primacy of matter. We gotta satisfy our sensual cravings, our sense pleasures, and all that stuff, and imagination, like our thoughts. Everybody. That's really what anxiety is just getting lost in your thoughts, overthinking things, really, a lot of it. And what he's saying is basically you're doing it wrong. Those things are supposed to be fuel for your creative impulse. And because you're not creating, you're having anxiety. Could it be? You know? So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a deep quote. I had to think about that a little.
and if you think about the alchemical, I made another word up today, the alchemical idea of turning lead into gold, you can think of lead as your let's see what my mouse is still being silly. Your memory and your senses. You could think of those as lead. And there's nothing wrong with your memory or senses, but what I mean is if you're experiencing anxiety, it could be because of something in the past that you're overthinking. What's it have to do with your memory? Or if you're experiencing anxiety because you're indulging too much in the alcohol or food or sex or whatever it is, you're going a little too crazy. You're kind of doing it backwards. So you could take that lead and turn it into gold by using all those impulses you have to create instead of pleasure your senses. And I think that's how some of the greatest art is created. You're channeling in a way in that way.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel when we're on the show. Like Sharon and I sometimes are feel like we're channeling.
Yeah. I like that. True alchemy is in this formula, which is like an equation, shall we say, right?
Yeah, because the formula, yeah,
So memory plus senses, uh, whatever, feed your equal
equal, yeah.
your creative impulse.
And the way he says
Um,
our but, like your senses are but the nourishment. He's like simply, this is
or
simply what
simply the
they
nourishment.
could be.
Yeah.
And then, you're still creating if you're feeling anxiety. And so I guess I kind of had a little wrong because either way, if you there's a way to look at it where no matter what you're doing, you are creating your day, technically.
Mm, mm.
So if you're overthinking, you're having anxiety and stuff, you're just creating a hell space for yourself. You're creating a reality tunnel where everything sucks. Just like
Yeah.
my lovely wife Elizabeth said last night, she's heard this thing, and I think I've heard it before too. We probably heard it, but it's never hurts to hear it again. It was a thing on Instagram. It's like when you're overthinking, just be like, think to yourself, well, what if this worked out? What if everything worked out perfectly? What if this episode ended up having like 1 million views? How would that be? What if, and just go down these what if overthinking tangents about positive things to even out the negative, you know?
Yeah, I've been kind of even when like say watching a show, right? And you're watching a show and something happens that you're just like, why? Like, and you're like, this dude should know better. Why is he doing this? Like, it's like ridiculous. Like, don't you realize that you're a fool? Like this, person has been like trying to deceive you for so long and you're still falling for it. And like, why? And it's just a show, right? But
Yeah.
I use that as a way to also think to myself, it's part of the plan. It's part of the show. There's a reason for it happening in the show, And then I can apply that to my life too and just be like, whatever is happening right now, there is a reason for it. Like there's going to be maybe something good that happens from it. Maybe not. Like that story that you told about the man and his son, and then the horse, and then he doesn't have to go to war and all this stuff because he breaks his leg and all this stuff. But all
Yes.
these things keep happening that look like they're bad things, but you never know what the greater good is from those quote bad things that are happening. Could it be?
You're right. I mean, like it could be something. I'm just trying to. I'll just say this. There's so much to say, but it's the same way, and I love you said that because I think about that too a lot when I'm reading books or listening to like audiobooks and stuff. Like The Wheel of Time. It's a great example of that as well. There's so many things that happen. I mean, I don't want to spoil any of it if anyone decides to get into that lovely series, but you're just like in moments of despair, and then you see how it worked out, and you're just like, all right, that's the only way it would have worked out, and if we're still alive, then it's the way it was supposed to be. So they're all little exercises though, and that's what I was saying too when I was talking to my wife about this stuff. Is like there's just so many ways to remind yourself, and that's really the key is to just remind yourself. And this is why meditation and spiritual practices like this help because you're literally exercising that muscle. You're exercising the muscle that helps you wake up in the moment to realize you're just overthinking and these are just thoughts and where the hell are they even coming from? And that's another thing I said too. I'm like, sometimes I don't know where these thoughts come from, but could it be you're on a good way to analyze this is to kind of say, you're on a vibration, right? We're looking at it, you're on a certain vibration. And when you're on that vibration, if you're lower, these thoughts are just you're tuning into that frequency and they're going to come to you. And
Yeah.
really, that's why meditation helps because you can realize that and then stop it and try to somehow raise your vibration. Like I'll be like, oh, let me just put on some music or some good lifting stuff or go for a walk instead
Change
of,
your frequency.
Yeah, instead of sitting here and have these dark thoughts. So that's really what it is, and that's why we say there's many paths of the mountaintop. It's all about just being awake and trying to be in the present moment as much as you can. And then when you forget to do it, you'll remember sometime down the road and you're like, oh damn it, I was doing it, and you get mad, and it kind of, it starts the cycle again. It's kind of funny, but yeah, just be easier on yourself, I guess is what I was gonna say. But it's
Yeah.
fun. It could be really fun. I mean, we're just nerds. Sharon and I are just nerds about this stuff. Like when I was, oh, by the way, too, I made some revelations last week, everybody, about my life. And that's another thing too. And it was last week on the show, but in real life, it was actually exactly 2 weeks ago, I think, today from when we're
Approximately,
recording.
yeah. The 12th, I think it was when we recorded.
Yeah. Oh yeah, approximately 2 weeks. So, just to let everyone know, everything is going great. Uh, and you guys will probably see just in my commentary, just the way my mind and shifted and stuff has happened to me, and it's been crazy, but it's been really good. So I'm excited about it. So just good news over here, everybody. I hope you're all happy for me. I've found out some more truth about my life, and it's just good news. It's either all the way around. It just makes more sense. It's like I've been wearing a medium shirt this whole time, and someone's like, "Hey, why don't you try on this large or extra large?" And I'm like, "Oh, like, thank you." The medium shirt kept me warm and everything, but it was just a little itchy. It didn't feel, yeah, it was weird, but it's
It's
still a
too
nice shirt
tight.
and I like it. But anyway, enough about me. Let's pull a card though, unless you have
Okay.
some stuff to say. I'm sorry. As I'm
Pull the
shuffling,
card. I was gonna say how what you just said reminded me of what Ram Dass talks about the Oath deck.
I just
Ram
want everyone
Dass
to see
talks
I'm
about
shuffling.
his talks about somebody saying, oh, I think it was his his astral friend Emmanuel, who's a channeled entity, saying that death is like taking off like a tight fitting shoe,
Ah,
something like that.
yeah.
That's what made me think of when you said
That
that.
makes a lot of sense. It really does. Because it's from
It's
the
like
best.
think
All
of
right,
the
everybody.
body, this body as the shoe, right? And that's
In
sitting over the sense body, the astral body, the consciousness body, right? The spiritual body. And when you're dying, it might be difficult because you're still attached to this realm and the things in this realm. So it might be hard to let that body go. And Robert Monroe, in the books that I read, his trilogy, basically it like talks about how there are people out there who can't let go. Like even after they die, they don't realize they are dead. And they just keep trying to reenact what the last thing they were doing and just kind of trying to keep going with the same motions. And even though they like it's like they don't notice that they try to touch a chair and it doesn't, they can't grab it, they don't, they can't grasp literally and figuratively that they're not physical anymore in this realm.
it's like the Matrix, the second and third movie, when they talk about these programs that refuse to be deleted, and then it's when you get those twins with the crazy hair that are like Swedish, blonde hair, and they have like the swords or whatever, those guys, and the werewolf or whatever. It's in the French guy. That's what it reminds me of. But those guys just have it figured out a little better. What you're describing, though, more sounds like The Sixth Sense, that movie with Bruce Willis. But
Mhm.
it's reminding me though of the idea of the program in the Matrix, right? So,
Yeah,
and what I think people don't realize, and we could say this every day on our show, and even we probably don't realize how much it affects us. But a part of our worldview has been so steeped in materialism and so materialism focused that when we talk about dying and shedding the body and all that stuff, it like this isn't even real. It's could it be? It's just some kind of
dude.
like we're being tricked somehow into thinking this is real. So
Yes.
there really is no body to drop, really.
And
Like we're
yeah, yeah. And that's why it's so easy to associate it with simulation because
yeah.
it really is. It's like we put on these VR glasses and we really think we're here. I mean, we really think we're here doing all this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And we are, you know.
Yeah.
We could do whatever we want here, you know. You could do whatever you want, and as much as people are like, oh, morality and like that's evil, and you know what? People do it. People have done it. People do whatever they want here, you know?
Yeah, they have the capacity to do
Yeah,
it. So
yeah. And they have the free will and all that stuff to do it. So they do. And what is this place? A place to practice, a place to figure it out, a place to experience. Um, are there, karmic consequences? Allegedly, yes.
I think the way we could explain it is like you were here for whatever reason it is. I think you could just choose it, but to the best of our going down rabbit holes and exploring it, to me and Sharon, I think it looks like we're here to raise our consciousness and maybe even lower it if you're supposed to go through the up the dark side, according to like the law of one and stuff. But in a nutshell, kind of like raise your consciousness or whatever, or work on it. And
Well, equals know thyself.
yeah, yeah, I know that
Because
exactly.
in knowing thyself, you recognize that you are. You are. You're part of the creation, but you are also the creator and the creation at the same time.
Yeah, and
Of part of the whole, not like the only one.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, part of it, but not exactly like a limited aspect. And I don't know, so many things were going through my mind. It's crazy,
I'm
but
sorry.
no, 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 not
Tripped
you're
again.
not responsible for this crazy mind, Sharon. I mean, maybe you're the God aspect of you, but I'm not playing. No, I wasn't saying. I was just trying to gather my thoughts because as you were talking, it just kept so many things were popping in. But yeah, I mean, like I was saying, raise your consciousness, but the fact that you could do anything in this realm kind of says that if you think that God did create this whatever realm, then it's kind of like God's wanting you to go out and see for yourself. And maybe that means that um, it's okay. Not that you should go out and do bad. Oh my God. Kitty, what are you doing? Not that you should go out and do bad things, but it's okay on a more grand level. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So it seems like maybe, we're here to like raise our consciousness or whatever, but we can get stuck in these cycles, and that's what seems to happen. So if you get stuck in a cycle, you keep doing, you could call it sinning or whatever. And really what it is the true definition of
Attachment.
sinning is like you just don't have faith in God. You're not trusting the plan and you think you know better, so you're plotting and scheming and running around driving yourself crazy to have it your way. It's like you're trying to control everything. You're basically like this big control freak. And really what you're doing is accepting everything as you just kind of let it go. And the same thing what Sharon said with in the Robert Monroe books, with these people who have passed away and they don't know it because they haven't accepted it yet. So if you spend your life working on acceptance, like we're doing here, and just kind of accepting things and seeing what God's plan is, could it be that the day that you end this experience and you what we call die, you'll be able to let it go quicker and to accept what is next for you? Because what if you can't accept it, then you have to be sent back here and then again and
Mhm.
again. And even if what if you accept it and then you get sent back here to do something else, whatever. I'm not trying to, Sharon gets it, but for other people who are listening, I'm not trying to say like we have to escape this realm or whatever. No, maybe not. Maybe we have to come back and then we have to accept that. Or maybe you accept letting go and you're like, yay. And then you
But
think
it's
you're out.
all in your control. It's all your choice. Like
Yeah.
if you want to come back, you can come back, you know? So no one's telling you that you have to do anything. It's all up to you.
Yeah. And again, everybody, these are just wild. This is just wild and crazy speculation based on everything we've ever taken in our lives, movies, also books, because movies and stuff like that the pop culture really is I feel like it's being channeled so you can look at it. But anyway, yeah, that's all I was gonna say. So it's like you get stuck in these cycles, and as you realize them, then the cycle breaks, and then you're on to the next one. It's just like doing work. That's why we say that. It's like you're doing technically self-work, and really what you're working toward is to accept everything exactly how it is in this moment, including you, not you, Sharon, but you, this person listening, and all your foibles, and like that zit on your face, and that itch, and that cut, or that broken thing, or that tendency that you have that you can't stand about yourself. As soon as you could accept that that's all perfect and it's supposed to be exactly how it is, I think that's when you got it. But it's a practice. That's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
And I think that's why we're able on like mushrooms or LSD or these psychedelic substances or plant medicines we're able to see that because this thing that we call the ego, it's a point of view that we have kind of just takes a back seat. And it's not there telling you, oh, you're ugly. Oh, whatever. You're talking too much, Brandon. Shut up. Like, whatever it is, it's not back there telling you that. And you're just seeing everything for how it actually is. And you're
You're
like,
being. You're
wow.
actually just being.
And could it be that's why maybe sometimes you start to,
You're
people
becoming.
hallucinate because you think you're hallucinating, but because you're like, I'm looking at reality, but reality's like, nah, man, I'm not as solid as you think. Like this is
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, it could be. So anyway,
Yeah.
use plant medicines responsible, everybody. It's all
Yeah.
right.
It's
Okay.
you can get attached and addicted to anything. So, but that's your journey. It's yours to accept or yours to let go or do whatever.
You could get addicted to meditating and meditate too much. It's crazy. It's just you just can't make claims in this realm. All right. I pulled a card and I'm gonna make a claim because this card is the Ace of Discs. What a great, didn't we pull this one?
Wow. I don't think we've ever pulled that one
We
in
did
the
pull
deck
Ace
yet.
recently. Now I don't know if we pulled
We did pull an ace, but it was an ace of swords, I think.
swords. Yeah, yeah, that's right. I was just gonna say that too. Popped in my head. Yeah, so the Ace of Discs, what a great card. Look at this little star in the middle. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven pointed star.
Oh, nice.
So, Ace of Discs, not much you have to really say about it. It's great though. I think it goes with the quote really well because as you're creating
Mm.
with your imagination and
Like the
your
beginnings of creation.
yes, these are like the first steps. And this also could be looked at as like a next step, right? So say you mastered something, you got it all, and now you took these different skills that you have previously and you put them all together to now be better at one other thing, right? Like say you were a comedian and a DJ and an author and you put it together to become Jesus Christ. This is your card. No, I'm just kidding. Um, so we're on to newer in
Bigger and better.
bigger and better and new, and it could also just be your worldview because the pentacles have to do anything about this realm. So like it's your family. Also, it could be like your career, grounding. Think of like the sacral chakra, right? That's the one, or the root chakra. Sorry, the root chakra. You want to get grounded, stuff like that.
Earthy stuff.
Earthy stuff. Yes. So it could do. I said something before, but that's
Because
all right.
like money, thing, like home, the home, your family.
Yes. So we're on to and it's great because I think this part of the story is really going to kind of yeah, it's going to really go along with this part of the story, I think. And then also I wanted to say that because we were talking about materialism before, and pentacles do represent what this realm is and what the material could be. So it's always also a good time to remember that the material isn't exactly real. It's just this probably could be this it's just this experience that we're having. Everything's energy if you zoom in on it enough with a microscope, so I'm told.
Does that look
So
kind of like a Taurus field or anything like that?
yeah, and what is, it looks like there's a Taurus field in the background here,
Yeah,
right bottom and top of the Taurus
yeah,
field,
yeah.
and right in the middle is this is you,
This
everyone listening to this
realm.
show. Or the realm. Because as above, so below. So we're all mini little realms unupon unto ourselves. And then we live in this big realm that's just like us too. And it's probably part of something bigger. We just can't get it. We don't know what it is.
It's a hologram.
Yeah. All right. Well, good card. Oh, and quickly, so just like on the bottom, the world,
Mhm. The
and on the
world.
top, the lovers card. So,
Nice.
6 and 21, and a one in the middle. Like, it's really good stuff. I feel like that lovers being on top because the top kind of represents, ways forward and path forward. It's going to talk about it kind of represents the alchemical marriage, I think, as we're getting into this.
Mm.
So, in the world, it's the end of a cycle. Remember, I was saying like the ace, the end of a cycle. You have this, boom, you got it, and now you have the ace again. Now you have your new work. It's like I was saying just earlier with self work or why we're here. We're stuck in these cycles. We break the cycle, and guess what? There's another one now we could go work on. And it's so funny because there's so people sometimes will break this cycle and then they think their life's going to be great. And then when it's not, they get in despair again and get stuck in another cycle. It's so funny, right?
Hmm.
You see it happen with people. They call it's like backsliding, right? So they used to call it
In
in the Christian,
church.
yeah, in church. Are you backsliding? Like, no, this is diet cocaine. Don't worry, this is diet coke. It ain't real. I ain't backsliding. No, I don't. I've never done cocaine, everybody. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Anyway,
Diet
whatever.
cocaine.
Do what you want. Yeah, I'm not backsliding. Preacher. What we used to call him? Father? No, that was in.
No, that's in Catholic
Yeah,
church.
I went to Cali, so I get me. Reverend. I'm not
Yeah.
backsliding. This is Diet Coke. All right.
Um,
Let's get into the. See now, this is the crucial part where we could it could turn into a. All right. The Alchemist.
I want to have you read first and do a little bit
Yeah.
of background, please.
Let's do it. Okay, now I have to clear my screen because everything came up in front of this. It's gonna sip my coffee. Here we go. So we ended here where the tribal chieftains rewarded the boy because he was right. The Oasis did get attacked, and he warned them, so they were able to kill all the attackers or subject whatever. And so they called him up, and he got his gold. Cool. So this is the next. No, this is at night. So later that night. When the sun, let me just see if I can make this a little bigger for me.
Yes, please do.
Oh, I see what's
A
going on here.
little bit
Doot, doot,
more,
doot,
yeah.
doot, doot, doot. I must have got smaller when I restarted my. Okay.
There you go. Much
Anyway, all when the sun had set and the first stars made their appearance, the boy started to walk to the south. He eventually sighted a single tent, and a group of Arabs passing by told the boy that it was a place inhabited by genies. But the boy sat down and waited. Not until the moon was high did the alchemist ride into view. He carried two dead hawks over his shoulder. I am here, the boy said. You shouldn't be here, the alchemist answered. Or is it your personal legend that brings you here?
Hmm.
With the wars between the tribes, it's impossible to cross the desert, so I have come here. The alchemist dismounted from his horse and signaled that the boy should enter a tent with him. It was a tent like many at the oasis. The boy looked around for the ovens and the other apparatus used in alchemy, but saw none. There were only some books in a pile, a small cooking stove, and the carpets covered with mysterious designs. Sit down, we'll have something to drink and eat these hawks, said the alchemist. Eat some hawks. The boy suspected that they were the same hawks he had seen on the day before, but he said nothing. The alchemist lighted the fire, and soon a delicious aroma filled the tent. It was better than the scent of the hookahs. Why did you want to see me? The boy asked. Because of the omens, the alchemist answered. The wind told me you would be coming, and that you would need help. It's not I the wind spoke about. The other foreigner, the Englishman, he's the one that's looking for you. He has other things to do first, but he's on the right track. He has begun and try to understand the desert.
To try.
He has begun to try to understand the desert. And what about me? When a person really desires something, all the universe conspires to help that person to realize his dream, said the alchemist. And this is the same thing that Melchizedek said. Oh, yeah, echoing the words of the old king. The boy understood. Another person was there to help him toward his personal legend. So are you going to instruct me? No. You already know all you need to know. I am only going to point you in the direction of your treasure.
Hmm.
But there's a tribal war, the boy reiterated. I know what's happening in the desert. Oh no, I know what's happening in the desert. I have already found my treasure. I have a camel, I have my money from the crystal shop, and I have 50 gold pieces. In my own country, I would be a rich man. But none of that is from the pyramids, said the alchemist. I also have Fatima. I also have Fatima. She is a treasure greater than anything else I've won. She wasn't found at the pyramids either. They ate in silence. The alchemist opened a bottle and poured a red liquid into the boy's cup. Now, I think we should stop really quick, though. This is a good thing to talk about because the boy here is now listing all these treasures that he has. Treasures. And the alchemist is simply pointing out, like, yeah, you have all these things, but you had this dream that you were going to find your treasure near the pyramids and you still haven't gotten close enough yet. Could it be? So he's just kind of keeping them back on track. And it's kind of like the backsliding we were talking about. Because I feel like that's what some people get powers or whatever these cities, or even if it's just a way, like they get attention from people, right, in a way to like persuade people, and then they just stop right there and they're like, this is enough for me. I'm going to use this power for the rest of my life. And then,
Yeah, like
yeah,
Ram
right.
Dass was talking about Trungpa and who else?
Chogum Trungpa
And
Rinpoche,
that other guy, Ma
Ramana
Nityananda's
Maharshi.
no,
Oh,
Nityananda's follower,
oh,
Muktananda.
yeah, Swami Muktananda.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They
Ramana
like got
Maharshi
all
is
caught up
powerful
in
for
their
real.
little powers, in their cities and, you know, tried to get
Yep.
more fame and more attention and
And it was actually perfect because despite what they were doing, they were just found their own personal legend, I guess, right? But they get locked in at a point. But because of that, they're able to spread all this message of spirituality who people later can get, like Ram Dass and then what Ram Dass did. And then people later, like us, can hear it. And it makes sense for us in our own way. And we're not out here starting a cult. Well, not intentionally. Everybody remember, don't worship us. All right. Uh, so, that's I think that could be that was one of the reasons why it happened. So back then, you could have been one of Chogum Trungpa Rinpoche's followers, and you could have been like, "What's this guy doing?" and got all mad about it. But you didn't know that 40 or 50 years in the future, these two amazing individuals, Sharon and Brandon, were going to be so influenced by a lot of this stuff and sharing this message to other people who might need to hear it right now. So you never know. It's too complicated. We can't figure it out. I can hardly ask Sharon. I can hardly keep everything straight that I have to do. Now, imagine if I had to like then go on and ponder why God made me get a flat tire or whatever, it's like I'm just gonna go with it, man.
yeah. You know, I've been reading more stuff about uh all these people like Ram Dass and stuff, and I was looking something up because I kept seeing the name Rinpoche all over the place, and I was like, what is that? And I guess it means it says Rinpoche is not a surname, but an honorific title in Tibetan Buddhism, meaning precious one. It is used to show respect for revered teachers, often those recognized as reincarnated lamas or accomplished spiritual leaders.
So does that mean I have a new nickname again?
Oh my
Brandon
God.
Bonanza Rinpoche?
Precious one. The precious.
Rinpoche. Just oh, there we go. Yeah, that's the Bhagwan Brandon, Brandon Bonanza, Rinpoche. That's
Oh my God.
I'm just gonna have like 2 minutes worth of titles. That'll be my savage.
Oh
All right.
my God.
Yeah. I like that. That's cool. I didn't know that. That's a good thanks for that. I know some of them,
Yeah.
Bhagwan and all that stuff, but I never heard of
I
Rinpoche.
didn't know that Rinpoche was a Tibetan
Oh, Tibetan Buddhism too.
um, honorific
And
title.
this
And they put it at the end.
I don't know. This is Tibetan Buddhism.
Oh.
I have to like do the angle. Yeah, this Om Mani Padme. So Rinpoche, it says Rinpoche, that's what it says now.
Oh,
What's that say when people ask me? I'm gonna say it says Rinpoche. It says
precious
Brandon Bonanza
one.
Rinpoche. All
The
right. That's
precious.
the hilarious, precious one. All right. La 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 la. The alchemist opened a bottle and poured a red liquid into the boy's cup. It was the most delicious wine he had ever tasted. Isn't wine prohibited here? The boy asked. It's not what enters men's mouths that's evil, said the alchemist. It's what comes out of their mouths that is, or their mouths. Let
That's
me
what
read that again.
Jesus said.
Yeah, right. It's not what enters men's mouths that's evil, said the alchemist. It's what comes out of their mouths that's evil.
Yeah.
That is evil. Or that is, yeah. Cool. I like that. The alchemist was a bit daunting, but as the boy drank the wine, he relaxed. After they finished eating, they sat outside the tent under a moon so brilliant that it made the stars pale. That's like a Tolkien reference. He used to say that a lot. Drink and enjoy yourself, said the alchemist, noticing that the boy was feeling happier. Rest well tonight, as if you were a warrior preparing for combat. Remember that wherever your heart is, there you will find your treasure. You've got to find the treasure so that everything you have learned along the way can make sense.
Mm, mm.
And this is a good, we could stop. I'll just put a little,
Wow, it kind of makes me think of the quote.
yeah. And it's another way to think about not being able to understand God's plan. But if you can just remember that, listen, in the future, all this stuff is probably going to make sense to me. Like, if you're having a tough time with something, just say, you know what? Look back maybe in the past when you were having a tough time with something, and now you're like, oh, I see why that happened. It makes sense. And then you could say, maybe this will happen with this tough time I'm having now. Maybe it'll work out to be something great, you know? But I think that's kind of what the alchemist is saying there. All right. Doot, doot, doot. It all has to make sense. And when that's all making sense moment, right? That's like when you have an epiphany.
Yeah. And that's also when you can have some level of peace.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when things make sense, you don't feel overwhelmed, you don't feel anxious, you probably don't have fear, you know, because things make sense.
It's kind of like if you're watching a movie and the whole time you're freaking out about something and then
Yeah,
some twist at the end where you're like, "Oh, okay."
I get it.
Or for my fellow gamblers out there, it's like when you're stuck a bunch of money, which means you're down. You're down a bunch of money and you get up and you're walking around. Like we used to go to Atlantic City for like a couple days during the week, us crazy DJs, because they would have, so we'd gamble and then I'd be like down, like say I was down like $200. I'm like, damn it, and then I'd win like 800 the next day or whatever. And I'm like, how do I be now? Because I was so used to being upset and pissed off that I was down this money. And now I have more money. Like, what do I do? And it's that thing, right? It's going to happen. You're going to have these ups and downs, but it's more about trying to remain on the inside, balanced. All right. Did I make that make sense?
Hmm.
Tomorrow, sell your camel and buy a horse. Camels are traitorous. They walk thousands of paces and never seem to tire.
Mm.
And suddenly they kneel and die.
Mm.
Yikes. But horses tire bit by bit. You always know how much you can ask of them and when it is yeah, you always know how much you can ask of them and when it is that they are about to die and when it is
That's
they're about to die.
nuts.
Yeah.
I did not know that about camels.
Yeah, that's crazy. They just go and go, huh?
Wow.
You have to be more conscious when you have a camel.
They're like a little kid that doesn't want to go to sleep, they just go, 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 go.
Yeah, they are. They're like little people pleasers that run around just like, okay, I'll do this. Okay, even though I'm gonna die, we're gonna go. And then they just,
Yeah.
so let that be a lesson to you. So I used to be a people pleaser. You know, it's good, but you kind of have it backwards if you're people pleasing. Like when you stand up, if you look like this, when you stay, you're probably people pleasing. And it's okay because I used to, and now I'm an inch taller. I still find myself doing it. But when I'm around a bunch of people and I stand up straight and I talk, they're like, "What's this guy saying? We gotta listen." Anyway, it's funny because I had to arch down to get that. All right, I'm just scatting at this point. Skiddly doo that bap bap. Okay,
You want me to read for a minute?
yeah, sure.
All right. The following night, the boy appeared at the alchemist's tent with a horse. The alchemist was ready, and he mounted his own steed and placed the falcon on his left shoulder. He said to the boy, "Show me where there is life out in the desert. Only those who can see such signs of life are able to find treasure." They began to ride out over the sands, with the moon lighting their way. "I don't know if I'll be able to find life in the desert," the boy thought. "I don't know the desert that well yet." He wanted to say so to the alchemist, but he was afraid of the man. They reached the rocky place where the boy had seen the hawks in the sky, but now there was only silence and the wind. "I don't know how to find life in the desert," the boy said. "I know that there is life here, but I don't know where to look." "Life attracts life," the alchemist answered. And then the boy understood. He loosened the reins on his horse, who galloped forward over the rocks and sand. The alchemist followed as the boy's horse ran for almost half an hour. They could no longer see the palms of the oasis, only the gigantic moon above them and its silver reflections from the stones of the desert. Suddenly, for no apparent reason, the boy's horse began to slow. "There's life here," the boy said to the alchemist. "I don't know the language of the desert, but my horse knows the language of life." They dismounted, and the alchemist said nothing. Advancing slowly, they searched among the stones. The alchemist stopped abruptly and bent to the ground. There was a hole. There was a hole there among the stones. The alchemist put his hand to the hole and then his entire arm up to his shoulder. Hmm, something was moving there, and the alchemist's eyes, the boy could see only his eyes, squinted with his effort. His arms seemed to be battling with whatever was in the hole. Then, with a motion that startled the boy, he withdrew his arm and leaped to his feet. In his hand, he grasped a snake by the tail. The boy leapt as well, but away from the alchemist. The snake fought frantically, making hissing sounds that shattered the silence of the desert. It was a cobra whose venom could kill a person in minutes. "Watch out for his venom," the boy said. But even though the alchemist had put his hand in the hole and had surely already been bitten, his expression was calm. "The alchemist is 200 years old," the Englishman had told him. "He must know how to deal with the snakes of the desert." The boy watched as his companion went to his horse and withdrew a scimitar, I think is how it's pronounced,
Yeah, scimitar,
or scimitar.
or yeah, however, it's a sword though. Yeah,
Yeah, with the roundish blade, a rounded blade or whatever.
yeah. Didn't you see that in the market, or was it
I
different?
think he saw them with in the Oasis where people had them.
Well, I was thinking when he was originally in the marketplace, following the guy who had all his money. Remember in the beginning of the story? Didn't he?
Oh
His
yeah.
attention was grabbed by a sword. I wonder if it was similar. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, let me see. Sim I guess you could say scimitar.
Okay.
Scimitar. Yeah, or yeah, scimitar. Um with its blade, He drew a circle in the sand, and then
Yeah.
he placed the snake within it. The serpent relaxed immediately. That is nuts to me.
Yeah.
What do you think about
I wonder if
that?
that really works.
I
Here, like,
know.
I know that I've heard like from watching Survivor Man and Man versus Wild, all those shows, or maybe it was on one of them, but they say if you take a rope and put it around where you are, the snake like won't go over a rope usually, like it won't cross the rope. So I don't know if that's true or not,
Um,
but I do want to bring attention though because so we have this snake, but and I didn't even talk about this. What about those hawks? What do you think about? So they killed and ate the two hawks that were the
did
same
he
hawks.
kill? He must have killed him then?
The alchemist did, yeah, because he came back with them when the boy was waiting at his tent. He came back with two hawks, and then he said they must have been the two hawks from the Omen.
Hmm. The ones that were fighting.
So what do you think
He-
that's all about?
Yeah, I, at first I thought maybe they died and he collected them,
Hmm.
but then he wouldn't eat them if they had just died, right? Because the flesh is not fresh,
Yeah,
if
unless you
I
saw
dare
him die.
say. It's like now it's carrion, right? So, or whatever, you know what I mean?
I
What?
think I figured it out. The two
What?
hawks that were fighting in the sky represent the two warring factions of the
Oh,
Oasis,
yes.
and the alchemist killed them and ate them. They both ate them, so now they could go through the desert with no
Defeat
problem.
them.
Well,
Yes.
maybe to defeat them, but also just so they don't
Well,
like,
in the sense of like
yeah,
they're defeated. I don't
yeah,
need
yeah,
to worry about them anymore.
yeah. You get what yeah, exactly. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Yep, yep. And then the snake. So let's keep an eye on the snake and see. So he sticks his hand in a hole and pulls out a cobra. I like it.
Nuts.
And the first animals were in the air, and this is a ground animal. So
Okay, yeah,
let's
true.
keep. All right, this is
Air
cool.
and earth. Air, mental ideas.
Hmm.
Earth, grounded, earthy ideas. Okay. You
And
have to
this,
scroll up for
yep.
me.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Not to worry, said the alchemist. He won't leave the circle.
Haha.
You found life in the desert, the omen that I needed.
Ha! He's like, I can't teach you till you find life in the desert. Because you know why?
Go
Because he's
ahead.
like, that's the true test if you've been paying attention this whole time. And if you're not ready, you miss those signs, and I got to bring him back or whatever. You know, you got to start back at the beginning. You probably would just kill him. No. All right, that was cool. I like that. I don't think I noticed that the first time I read because I
Yeah, I
got
mean,
this far.
I don't notice the first time I read anything, I don't notice that much. So second time around is definitely a time for noticing new things.
Yeah.
All right. So he said, you found life in the desert, the omen
Hmm.
that I needed. Why was that so important? Because the pyramids are surrounded by the desert. The boy didn't want to talk about the pyramids. His heart was heavy, and he had been melancholy since the previous night. To continue his search for the treasure meant that he had to abandon Fatima. I'm going to guide you across the desert, the alchemist said. I want to stay at the oasis, the boy answered. I've found Fatima, and as far as I'm concerned, she's worth more than treasure. Fatima is a woman of the desert, said the alchemist. She knows that men have to go away in order to return, and she already has her treasure. It's you. Now she expects that you will find what it is you're looking for. Well, what if I decide to stay? Let me tell you what will happen.
And now I just want to, because I remember this part, I just want to say to everybody, this is the part where I believe he's kind of describing what happens to people when they don't want to follow their inner
When they're
gift.
just comfortable with where they're at, not in the bad way of like letting or like going with the flow, but in the way of being complacent and not really pushing forward toward the goal.
Yeah. They're not chasing their personal legend, really, is what's going on. And he'll kind of illustrate what happens to people. And this just reminds me of how I was before I started to get into all this stuff. When I was just had a regular job and I was working. And this is kind of where I was headed, I feel like. but not
And
anymore.
it's fine. It's all part of the journey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Sharon. We're not judging anyone. All right, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, because then we'd be judging ourselves, you know?
It's all projection.
Right? Um, Let me tell you what will happen. You can scroll up a little bit since we're close to the next page. You'll be the counselor of the oasis. You have enough gold to buy many sheep and many camels. You'll marry Fatima and you'll both be happy for a year. You'll learn to love the desert and you'll get to know every one of the 50,000 palms. You'll watch them as they grow, demonstrating how the world is always changing. And you'll get better and better at understanding omens because the desert is the best teacher there is. Sometime during the second year, you'll remember about the treasure. The omens will begin insistently to speak of it, and you'll try to ignore them. You'll use your knowledge for the welfare of the oasis and its inhabitants. The tribal chieftains will appreciate what you do, and your camels will bring you wealth and power. During the third year, the omens will continue to speak of your treasure and your personal legend. You'll walk around night after night at the oasis, and Fatima will be unhappy because she'll feel it was she who interrupted your quest. But you will love her, and she'll return your love. You'll remember that she never asked you to stay because a woman of the desert knows that she must await her man. So you won't blame her. But many times you'll walk the sands of the desert thinking that maybe you could have left, that you could have trusted more in your love for Fatima, whatever. Because what kept you at the oasis was your own fear that you might never come back. At that point, the omens will tell you that your treasure is buried forever. Let's
So,
roll or talk about it.
yeah, I guess let's finish and then we can talk about it because I didn't realize he's going to continue. I'll just scroll up for it. There you go.
Then, sometime during the fourth year, the omens will abandon you because you've stopped listening to them. The tribal chieftains will see that, and you'll be dismissed from your position as counselor. But by then, you'll be a rich merchant with many camels and a great deal of merchandise. You'll spend the rest of your days knowing that you didn't pursue your personal legend, and now it's too late. You must understand that love never keeps a man from pursuing his personal legend. If he abandons that pursuit, it's because it wasn't true love, the love that speaks the language of the world. Okay, what? I want to know what that means.
You must understand that love never keeps a man from pursuing his personal legend. If he abandons that pursuit, it is because it wasn't true love, the love that speaks the language of alchemy. And what that means exactly is if you abandon your pursuit for your personal legend for love, you don't really love the person because you don't love yourself. And this is where we see all these relationship issues that we could just say like, and some of us are parents or people around us and all this stuff, right? And no judgments again, but I feel like it's all due to this materialistic mindset that we have, and we fear and we don't trust God, and we try to do things our own way, and it just keeps fucking up.
And it's like if they could only be honest with themselves, then they could be honest with the other person, right? But there's a fear holding them back, and they're not honest with the other person about the fear. I mean, they're not honest with themselves, so they're not honest with the other person.
Yeah.
And that can be sensed by the other person. So there's this sense of like maybe not trustworthiness or
Hmm.
not feeling loved, truly loved, because if you couldn't be honest about that with the person you quote love, then do you really love them? You know?
Or is it just an unhealthy attachment that you have? Like the saying we've always heard, if you love something, let it go. And if it loves you, it will return. And I think really all that means, it doesn't mean you have to kick your wife out of your house. You just let go of expectations and fears and all this stuff and just trust that whatever's happening is supposed to be part of it. Now, again, I'll add the caveat that we try to go with the flow here, but there are times could it be that maybe you have to stand up and you have to speak up for yourself and set boundaries and do that stuff. So if you notice you're being taken advantage of and all this stuff, you don't have to sit around like, oh, this is great. I mean, if you want to, go ahead. But it's a fine line we're talking about here. You're walking this line. But yeah, really, if you're not, like we said before, if you don't love yourself, you don't truly love the other person. And if you did love yourself, especially if this person like Fatima. Here we go. I'll just say Fatima, maybe easier. Fatima, she's like, I'm a woman of the desert. You got to go because she knows if he doesn't go,
You're
that
gonna
he's,
regret it later.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think it's a really important message here that they're saying to people. And this is why, like, when people are like, oh, do you make, you have a podcast? Do you make money? And I'm like, no, but I also don't randomly snap and go crazy. Like, I'm following my personal legend. I'm not worried about, this time that I put into it and stuff. I'm not worried about any kind of monetary thing. I'm not doing it for money, right? Like we're doing it for just to have a good time. And it's because what we want to do, we feel called to do it, so we're doing it, right? So it's kind of like that thing too. So when people ask me, how about here, read this book, The Alchemist, and maybe you'll get it.
Mhm. Good call. Yeah. Should
Um,
I keep reading?
yeah, here you go. Look at that. I'll scroll up a little.
Okay. The alchemist erased the circle in the sand. Uh-oh, here we go. And the snake slithered away among the rocks. The boy remembered the crystal merchant who had always wanted to go to Mecca, and the Englishman in search of the alchemist. He thought of the woman who had trusted in the desert, and he looked out over the desert that had brought him to the woman he loved. I want to talk about this right here
Yeah.
again. Sorry. That was short, but
No, I hear you. Go ahead.
um, so he erases the circle in the sand and the snake slithers away. What do you think he was trying to tell him with that? He's being bound by a little fake line drawn in the sand by this attachment, perhaps, maybe. And if he just erases that little fake line in the sand or circle, he has the ability to pursue his personal legend.
The snake is like caught in a cycle, like we were saying, the circle. He's caught in a cycle, and then the alchemist broke the cycle, and the snake went away. The alchemist is showing, the kid what he's doing with him. Literally, he's like, I grabbed you out of this hole, and you bit me and I put you. He's just showing him, look, you could do this to a wild animal. You could just grab it, throw it, and put a circle around it. So there's this other force that the snake doesn't know what it is, right? It's like a mystery. So in this way, the alchemist kind of acting like God, you know? He's like,
Mhm.
sometimes God will grab you, look, just like a snake, out of a hole and put you in a circle, you know?
In
And
a
then
cycle.
yeah, in a cycle. And then he erases it for you too to go. But who erases the circle? Is it you? Like you have to do it
God with him.
yourself.
Yeah.
God helps you. It's all these things. So yeah.
Yeah. And who runs away or who follows their personal legend once the circle's erased? I mean, if the circle's erased and you stay there, that's your problem, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like what is it, the elephant that's tied to a rope and he's tied so tightly and he forgets that when someone unties him, he forgets that he's untied and he doesn't leave because he still thinks he's tied.
Yeah, they train, I think they train baby elephants by keeping them tied up. And then when they're older, they could just have it tied to like nothing, really. And they still
Yeah.
think that they're tied. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because elephants never forget. So I guess they just never forgot that that rope is, they're unable to forget that it's, yeah.
Oh, poor little elephants.
Yeah.
Um, So then he says he thought of the woman who had trusted in the desert. Who's that woman? Is he referring to Fatima or someone else?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's referring to, yeah. Oh, yeah, it must have been.
Was there someone else? I don't remember.
Uh, I don't think I don't think
That's
so.
okay.
Let's see. He thought of the woman who had trusted the desert and looked out over the desert that had brought him to the woman he loved. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
I'll keep reading for a bit and then you can read again. All right. I'll need you to scroll at some
Oh
point.
yeah, go ahead. My bad. They
They
mounted, right?
mounted,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
they mounted their horses, and this time it was the boy who followed the alchemist back to the oasis. The wind brought the sounds of the oasis to them, and the boy tried to hear Fatima's voice. But that night, as he watched the cobra within the circle, the strange horseman with a falcon on his shoulder had spoken of love and treasure, of the women of the desert, and of his personal legend. I'm going with you, the boy said, and he immediately felt peace in his heart. We'll leave tomorrow before sunrise, was the alchemist's only response.
Nice.
There you go.
Do you want me to read from here?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Oh, all right. The boy spent a sleepless night 2 hours before dawn. Oh, the boy spent a sleepless night. 2 hours before dawn, he awoke one of the boys who slept in his tent and asked him to show him to where Fatima lived. They went to her tent, and the boy gave his friend enough gold to buy a sheep. He's a baller. Then he asked his friend to go into the tent where Fatima was sleeping and to awaken her and tell her that he was waiting outside. The young Arab did as he was asked, and when given enough gold to buy yet another sheep,
Hmm.
and was given enough gold to buy yet another sheep. Now leave us alone, said the boy to the young Arab. The Arab returned to his tent to sleep, proud to have helped the counselor of the oasis and happy at having enough money to buy himself some sheep. Fatima appeared at the so this right here too is we could just take this little part because he has this wealth and now he's kind of sharing it around to the younger guys that maybe can go pursue their personal legend now because they got this gold from this guy who's on his mission. Like, how did he get his gold? Well, he warned everybody in the Oasis. Now he has this gold and he's not hoarding it. He's sharing it freely. He could have gave the guy a copper or a silver. He didn't have to give him gold. The kid would have been happy with a penny or whatever they had, smaller denominations, whatever they had in their village or Oasis. So
He gave
I
him
think it's
quite a
important.
bit to buy one sheep, which was
Yeah.
probably a lot.
Think about what, even if it was like $50 or $100 in our $200 like in our modern
I mean,
currency.
how much would it cost to buy a sheep
The
these days?
boy probably would have did it for $2 in our currency, and he probably gave him, 50 to $200, maybe more.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? So remember to as you're going with this, you don't want to cling to things. He has all this gold, but he's still remember you're just a conduit. It's just currency. God's
It's
like, give
God's
that
money.
that boy needs some gold. He's gonna get some sheep now, and he's gonna go on his personal legend, and maybe he's gonna have to go to Europe. Maybe his dream's going to be to go to like the Rock of Gibraltar or something, and he's going to have to do the reverse legend. So you never know how you can affect people out there. So yeah, so many little things hidden in here. I love it. All right. La la la. Fatima appeared at the entrance to the tent. The two walked out among the palms. The boy knew that it was a violation of the tradition, but that didn't matter to him now. I'm going away, he said, and I want you to know that I'm coming back. I love you because dot dot dot. Don't say anything, Fatima interrupted.
Mhm.
One is loved because one is loved. No reason is needed for loving. But the
True.
boy continued, yeah, the boy continued. I had a dream and I met with a king. I sold crystal and crossed the desert. And because the tribes declared war, I went to the well seeking the alchemist. So I love you because the entire universe conspired to help me find you. The two embraced. It was the first time either had touched the other. I'll be back, the boy said. Before this, I always looked to the desert with longing, said Fatima. Now it will be with hope. My father went away one day, but he returned to my mother, and he has always come back since then. So now you get this merging of cultures. He's becoming kind of a man of a desert. He found a woman of the desert. You know, this is also a story about some guy that just didn't fit in really where he was. I mean, I get he kind of fit in, but he was more of a nomad, or, like a hermit. And now he's going here and he's finding love and friends and alchemists and Englishmen and little boys to give gold to. So it's really a beautiful part of the story right here. It's all kind of coming together. And I like it because just like any good story or movie, you have like ups and downs and ups and downs. And this is kind of like a mini climax, like right before the journey or whatever. All right. It reminds me of Lord of the Rings a little bit. It's like the respite in Lothlorien, and before when they were in Rivendell, when they first had the council, like all these little stops they make, with Tom Bombadil in the books. That's the first one. All right.
I'm just surprised they didn't have Tom Bombadil in the movies, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think they're talking about redoing the movie. I don't pay attention to anything anymore, but if they do, they should because if they were really smart, listen, if anyone, what power to make this stuff, make it a TV series and just follow the book fucking
Yes.
exactly. And let
Yeah.
me tell you something, you're going to be a billionaire.
Yeah. People will love that.
They need the
Follow the
message right
book.
now,
Yeah.
like it's needed, man. Like that's is what more. Let's take a quick pause from The Alchemist, but what more is Lord of the Rings? And this is why I like Wheel of Time too, because Wheel of Time even goes deeper and dissects it because it's so long and they have all these. But anyway, you have all these different people and nations and nationalities. And Lord of the Rings, you have like elves and dwarves, but they're all on the side of good or whatever, and they all have to get together despite all their differences. And that's what I see right now. But really, if you look at the that internally, and the best way I think to go about it is to just cultivate that self-love that you have and love yourself and be that example for people out there. And I feel like that's the war, right? That's the all analogy, Frodo destroying the ring. That ring, could it be, is just your desires. And it's so hard to just say no to that desire and throw and cast it
Hit
into the fire, right? But I
abyss.
think that's what it's all about. And it's just it can even just be a daily process, right? You're just saying no to this voice, the adversary. But go ahead, Sharon. You seem like
Oh, no, no. I'm just saying words like the abyss and the pit.
yeah, the pit of doom, Mount Doom. But again, to look at it in the broader sense, maybe the people of not Middle Earth, but the people of this Earth, the people of Realm Earth, maybe will never be able to get it together to fight one big force of evil and all join sides. But through these stories, you can see the common ground that they have. And through these stories, you could get the worldview to see that there really is no difference in anybody. We're all the same, like thumbs boy, he was just making noise. We're all the same in one way or another on the spiritual, right? So if you can adjust your worldview, then you're no longer a victim to all these things that happen, right? That's really all we're saying. So that's how you can use this stuff when you're uniting all the things. It's more about uniting aspects of yourself as well, too. And that's more of like the inner, the esoteric. But you start to see how all these desires could in tendencies that you have and all these things, they all come together and they all make sense and it's all perfect. And they're like, oh, okay. All right. Then I could just be cool and easy on myself. All right. I love going off on those overshare rants where I just talk about that because it really, I feel compelled a lot to say it to people. I think it's a message people need to hear about that. We're all just freaking perfect. Or maybe I just need to hear it. Or maybe Thumbsy over here needs to hear it. Or Sharon, who knows? But I do feel compelled to spread this message of, we're fucking perfect and it's great. And to bring it back to what Sharon said earlier, like sometimes when something happens and you freak out, but what if, right? Bring it to Lord of the Rings. What if, when Frodo, think of all the crazy things that happened along the way. What if at that point, what if they just gave up? It's like
Yeah. What if they had killed what's his face?
Gollum.
Gollum. He wouldn't have been there in the end.
What if they killed Gollum?
Yeah.
Gollum's a real hero, guys.
Yeah.
And why? Because he did all the wrong things. He did all, and I think maybe Tolkien doesn't even realize, but I'm sure in a way, he knew what he was, obviously, he knew what he was doing. But, you have this character who's the worst. He smells even. You don't want to listen to him. He stinks. He bites you. Like in the books, it's bad.
A
Aragorn.
little piece of crap.
Yeah. And like
He's
in
a
the
little piece
books,
of garbage.
there's a part where Aragorn in the books, like early on, Aragorn captures him and brings him to the elves, and he escapes or whatever. But this is early. But Aragorn, whatever, talks about how stinky and vile he is. He's like, I never want to see this guy again. But yet he's the fucking hero of the movie. It's like so profound. I'll take that back. He's not the hero.
Well, he's not the hero. Yeah, I was
He
gonna say.
is part of everything that destroyed the thing they were trying to destroy. So he is a key element. He's like a keystone, right? Like him, and you needed Frodo and Sam to get. You needed everybody and everything. The way it happened, exactly perfect. Boromir had to get fucking slain tragically, and
Yeah.
everyone had to cry. And
And
but
Faramir and all
yeah,
that.
and all that, and you needed Gollum. So that's really the message. I guess it's a good thing we change it because it's like we were trying to tell everyone just to be bad. No, really, what I'm saying is, I think the takeaway is that you don't have to judge. Like whoever the worst person you can think of in your mind, dear
You're
listener or
blaming
viewer.
people of the world.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like whoever's listening, whoever dear viewer listener, whoever's irks you the most, think of that person and then be like, are they worse than Gollum though?
Or the kind of people that irk you the most.
Yeah, or the kind.
That's what I was getting at. But yes, if you're
How are you the
stuck,
funniest person on the
if
show, Sharon?
if you are stuck on that, if that's where you're getting
The
stuck,
kind of people. They're not worse than Gollum. All right. Well, maybe that was a bad example. No, I'm just. And this is how
but
we bring the
just think,
comedy.
what if, just like Gollum,
Mm.
people
What
like
if?
Gollum get what people like Gollum get?
What
How
if
about that?
their debauchery is so terrible and so evil and bad, or not evil, whatever. It's so negative and bad that it's going to actually save the world in a way. Then you don't have to judge them for being so crazy. You could just say, I don't want to partake in that. I don't
Exactly.
want to do any of that stuff, but it's a good thing they are. Because if Gollum didn't stink and was so persistent and he just would never die, if he wasn't that terrible and persistent,
He's
like,
gonna take it all with him when he goes.
yeah, and he is gonna take it all with him when he goes. Can we just end the episode now? No, we still have some time, right? No, that
We're
was perfect.
close. No.
No, all right. That's it. Make sure you tip your waitress. We're out. We did pull a George Costanza. No, yeah, that's so true though. It's like they're gonna take it with them. They created it, like the evil or whatever, and it's not even evil in a
Negativity
sense.
or whatever. But
And you can look at it as just resistance because if not, what if this was just an easy realm where we could pick the food we needed to eat and live how we wanted and we didn't need any technology? We might not learn any lessons though. It might be great, it might be paradise. Maybe that's how it was for quadrillions and trillions of years. And then we were like, we're fucking bored of this. Let's create some resistance. We're gonna make this country. And they're gonna know. All right, you guys get it. Anyway, so what if it was so boring that we created the resistance because we're God and we're like, let's get on to level two. We played Halo so many times and beat it. Let's put it on legendary mode. You know, let's make it so when we're born, we don't know who our dad is for 49 years. That would be nuts. And we gotta have this crazy thing going on where we're constantly gaslit.
Fighting.
Like, yeah, we're constantly gaslit. But no, I'm not being a victim. I'm just saying it was good resistance for me, and I'm really glad that I went through all that in my life. This is what I'm referring to, everybody. I talked about it on last week's episode. I'm not going to let it overshadow this one. Go listen to last week's episode. But anyway, that resistance was great for me. So you person, you can also, if you choose to, you can look at all the shitty stuff that's going on in your life and say, you know, this is resistance. These are hurdles. I'm a hurdle runner. You just woke up like, wait a minute. I just been running into hurdles and everyone's ahead of me. But I'm a giant with these long legs, so I'm just like skip, dop, dop, and all of a sudden I'm ahead of the pack, or whatever. I'm not saying me, but that could be you, is what I'm saying, everybody. You have the choice to look at it that way. And that's all we're trying to say with like everything we do. Anyway, Sharon, back to you. No.
Oh, yeah. You know, um, everything we just said.
Yeah, everything they're gonna take it all with them.
They're going to take it all with them.
And when we say they, we just
Oh,
mean,
I was going to, yeah, go ahead.
yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's, you said, what if we've been here for quadrillions and cajillions? And it's like, yeah, it's a cycles of time. You have, golden ages allegedly, and then they start to, you start doing harder levels of the game, and things start, kind of devolving until there's a lot of chaos and you're in a Kali Yuga. And then you're
Yeah.
just like,
Lucky you.
yeah, here we are.
I am telling you guys, there are people either outside this realm, there's not people, whatever, there's consciousness, there's something, or even if it's just whatever it is, that are like rooting for us. And when we overcome this stuff, they're gonna be like, dude,
Oh,
you
yeah.
fucking did it. Like, we knew you could do it. We knew you could. It's like when you have a friend who's onto some truth and he's like starting to be like, is fluoride,
Mm,
should we be drinking fluoride? Like when you see someone start asking those questions and you're just like, and you don't go to him and be like, guess what? It's all lie. No, you're just like, oh, that's an interesting concept. And you're just like, yeah, look, you're cheering for him. Like, say it's somebody you don't even know. You just hear a conversation, right? And someone's like talking about like, should I drink fluoride? And you're like, oh, this is great. Like you're an outside participant cheering for them. And I feel like we have people like that or consciousness or whatever, even if it's just our higher self or God, whoever she is like, yeah, man. I let Brandon, I gave him the choice to do whatever he wanted, and he fucking chose for 2 hours this week to talk into a microphone with his one of his best friends about stuff that most people think is boring. Oh, and how much was he getting paid to do it? Nothing. Because he just wanted to spread the message and he's so had right? Like so there's people cheering for us and in the chat. And guess what? We're cheering for you, chat. I just want to give a shout out to chat. Thank you guys so much, especially for hanging on this long. I hope you've enjoyed the series. If you're new, welcome to the show. Make sure you subscribe if you like what you hear. And if you're new and you're still listening, obviously you do. We haven't bored you yet. That's our secret weapon. Anybody who might be offended by this, we bore them and they fall asleep before we get to the juicy stuff. So,
So we
anyway,
just have the best darn chat on the interwebs.
yeah, the best are in chat. It's a great chat. Come hang out. And thanks for hanging. Make sure you, like I said, you could join this great pyramid scheme that we have right here. The great pyramid scheme for
For
just one
one
thumbs
thumbs up a
up.
week.
I'm going to let you focus on that while I let my cat out. Hang on. No,
Yeah, for
go ahead, buddy.
just one thumbs up a week, you can join the Great Pyramid
One
Scheme.
thumb. It doesn't even. You could get a. I just discovered. Where did it go? I have this little. It's like a pen, but on the end of it, it's got this little touchy thing.
Oh, yeah, like a
It has a
stylus.
name. I
Yeah, stylus.
yes.
Oh, it's a stylus for your
I don't
phone.
want to show everybody my code. So
Capacitive touch.
yeah, you just and then you could. It's great. So you don't even need to use your thumb, everybody. You could just one stylus touch a week is what's anyway. You guys get it. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. And yeah, should we start keep reading?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Oh, morelawsmoreproblems.com. Click on the Oversharing tab. That's where you can find more about us. And if you're listening on YouTube, you can get the audio form. And if you're listening just in audio, you can look at our smiling faces on YouTube at the Brandon Bonanza channel, Brandon Bonanza, Bonanza channel.
On YouTube.
Not Brandon Bonanza Rinpoche. If you that's the secret name that you call me, then I know you watch my show. All right. The boys said nothing else. They walked a bit far.
They said nothing.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was looking at the boy under. They said nothing else. They walked a bit farther among the palms, and then the boy left her at the entrance to her tent. I'll return just as your father came back to your mother, he said. He saw that Fatima's eyes were filled with tears. You're crying. I am a woman of the desert, she said, averting her face. But above all, I am a woman. He's like, you give water to the dead?
Oh my God. Okay, Doom
Fatima,
Junkie.
Fatima went back. He gives water to the dead. Oh, everyone's like, whoa. Fatima went back to her tent, and when daylight came, she went out to do the chores she had done for years. But everything had changed. The boy was no longer at the oasis, and the oasis would never again have the same meaning it had only yesterday. It would no longer be a place with 50,000 palm trees and 300 wells where the pilgrims arrived, relieved at the end of their long journeys. From that day on, the oasis would be an empty place for her. From that day on, it was the desert that would be important. She would look at it every day and would try to guess which star the boy was following in search of his treasure. She would have to send her kisses on the wind, hoping that the wind would touch the boy's face and would tell him that she was alive, that she was waiting for him, a woman awaiting a courageous man in search of his treasure. From that day on, the desert would represent only one thing to her, the hope for his return. Wow.
Yeah.
This guy's definitely experienced love with another person before because I feel like to write this kind of stuff, you can't explain exactly what love is, but it will allow you to write powerful stuff like this because we talk about all the time, it's that saying, no man can ever walk through the same river twice because not only is the river different because the water flows, but the man is always changed or whatever, like that whole thing. And we just watched that happen to her and she talked about it. We get her inner dialogue where this great place where it used to be a party for her is now like, and now all her attention is focused outward, waiting for her man to come back, but not even in like a terrible way. More she's accepting it. So, you get a little bit of melancholy and sadness here. And I think it's also to let you know that it's okay. Sometimes you are going to be sad or upset or frustrated or whatever. I think overall, people see something that they want to be and they try to model their behavior after it, and they fail. So overall, they think they're a failure. Whereas the thing that I see is most important is just it's okay. Everything's okay. Just more keep saying that to yourself, like it's okay. It's okay. This is, be in the present moment. It's fine. You're gonna get mad. You're a human. You're a man or a woman or whatever. You're something that you can hear my voice and you get mad, sad, happy, and hungry, and it's okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel like we have maybe it's I'm projecting probably, but we have a lot of trauma in this society. So I'm always like, it's all right, man. Like that's the most main message I want to share to people. Like it's cool. We're all doing our best. Whoever's listening to this, you're not watching some kind, or you're not engaging in some form of escapism. Or if you are, at least you're listening to us, and thank you. We appreciate it. But take that love yourself for it. Be like, listen, I'm engaging in a little bit of self-love. These guys are covering The Alchemist. This is a book about working on yourself and transformation. They're giving their commentary. I'm giving them my attention. Give yourself some validation for that. You
I
have all
was
the
saying that
validation. Yeah,
this
sorry, go ahead.
past week, everything's going to be okay. It's okay. Everything's fine. Everything's going to be okay.
Exactly. Everything going, it's like that Naughty by Nature song. All right. Bum bum bum.
Do you
Yeah.
want to keep reading?
You could read for a little bit if you want,
Okay.
if you're good. Yeah.
Don't think about what you've left behind, the alchemist said to the boy as they began to ride across the sands of the desert. Everything is written in the soul of the world, and there it will stay forever. And just quickly, that reminds me of the Akashic records. Like it's it's all there. It's all in the Akashic records. It is written. Um, I'll keep reading. Men dream more about coming home than about leaving, the boy said. He was already reaccustomed to the desert's silence. If what one finds is made of pure matter, it will never spoil, and one can always come back. If what you had found was only a moment of light, like the explosion of a star, you would find nothing on your return. The man was speaking the language of alchemy, but the boy knew that he was referring to Fatima. Now, I think we do need to stop and talk about that a little bit because it's a little deep.
Yeah, it's like if you love something, let it go. It's just a different way to say it, you know? He's like, if it's gonna be there, it's gonna be there. If not, it's not. Accept it, dude, you know? Or not, but if you accept it, then you're gonna become more like an alchemist, kind of thing.
Mhm.
What do you think?
Yeah, so at first because of course I think of when it's matter, everything that's matter is material, right? It says if what one finds is made of pure matter, it will never spoil. Um, that I'm kind of like conflicted with, right? But I think I see what you mean by like it's something, I guess, some kind of physical thing. So you can expect that it should be there when you return. Um,
Yeah, I feel like, if I may, I don't want to, if you're
Go
still
ahead.
talking, he's speaking the language of this realm. Instead of speaking on the
Right,
spiritual, he's more
right.
speaking on the physical,
Yeah.
but he's also referencing this spiritual. And he's also saying if there's something here that's expressing as matter, as pure matter, it's going to be here. If there's something here expressing as just light, it could all just be light.
It'll
Because
just
I
be
think
light.
that's kind of what Sharon's saying. This is all energy and light. But if something's expressing as just a beam, it's going to be quick and that's it. But if something's expressing as a, you know, amazing
Crystal.
peach moonstone skull, it's going to be there, in the physical, of course. But that's why there's so many layers to this. It's so great.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so confusing and it gets boring to people. And they're just like, I'm gonna go read 50 Shades of Grey because I can't take this and I gotta go
Oh my God.
watch porn or
Escapism.
sorry,
Yeah.
but it's fine, everybody. Keep doing it. Just keep doing it until you're sick of it. And then you're like, I gotta watch the Over Sharon show. That's how we should promote our show. Instead of promoting the show, we'll just promote escapism things. We're like, yeah, keep doing it. You're doing great. And if you ever feel like you don't want to do it anymore, just watch my show, but just keep doing it. Until then, you're killing it. All right. Maybe that's what Aleister Crowley was doing.
Yeah.
Could it be? Anyway.
Trickster,
Yeah. Oh, man, nailed it. Yes, the trickster.
right?
Exactly the trickster energy because it's showing you where your blind spot is. It's like, wait a minute, are you taking this realm a little too seriously? Are you a little too attached to this thing? Whatever it is, you love the alcohol, or we're gonna fuck you, or you love the whatever, or even
I
if it's
mean, you love anything. Like you love, your religion.
your hair, Brandon, you love that beautiful hair. Well, guess what? It's like, that's why I'm just like, I look great right now, but tomorrow I could be bald. I'm still gonna look great, whatever. You know, you can't, I'm gonna be the funniest guy in the FEMA camp. You can't take that away from me. You could take my tongue out and I'll just do funny shit. I'll crawl around in my hands like I'll do a lizard impersonation. You can't stop me. I once crawled around I probably told this story on the floor of when I was in the Marine Corps working on airplanes in Italy. We had a beautiful hangar on this Italian Air Force. It was an Air Force base, U.S. Air Force Base on Italian, whatever. It's from World War II. So we had a hangar at night, and I was running around all night pretending to be a lizard. I had like a chair,
Were you
like
high? I'm just
no,
kidding.
that's the thing. I quit weed. Oh, I never smoke. Did I ever smoke before I went to the Marines? I think I told them I didn't. So let's just anyway. But definitely when I was 17, before I signed up, I quit, and I never did any other really drugs again until I was like, or whatever you would call drugs, till I was like 35 or 34. So that's why when people are like, "Oh, you smoke weed," and I'm like, "Listen, like I went, like I know," and then I also, like, so don't worry about me, like
I'll do it till I'm done. Thank
I
you very much.
exactly, man, because I didn't do it for a long time, and it's funny because I was talking to people recently
You're
who
making up for lost time, damn
making
it.
up for lost time, and most people's experiences, they did that stuff when they were younger, and now they don't do it, and I'm like, no, I'm the other way around. I never did mushrooms when I was
I'm
younger.
Benjamin frickin' Button, people.
I did, yeah, I didn't do allegedly try psilocybin until later in life, so yeah. Anyway, the trickster, everybody. She nailed it. We're all tricksters in our own way. All right. Da 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 da. I feel like there was some point there I left unfinished, but it's all right, everybody. You guys love us, the show. Don't think about what you've left
Wait.
behind. Here we go. The alchemist said to the boy, it's like don't look down, right? When you're up high.
Yeah.
So don't dwell on it. I guess I'll take over here if you don't mind. We're almost
Yeah,
done.
I already read some of that. So,
Oh yeah, that's right. Where were you?
the man was speaking the language of
Oh
alchemy.
yeah, that's right. I got so lost on my funny trickster thing. When you said that, it like blew my mind because I just had a trickster conversation the other day. So, all right, no, you go ahead, though. You go ahead. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. The man was speaking the language of alchemy, but the boy knew that he was referring to Fatima. And there's that cool guy on a camel. All right. It was difficult not to think about what he had left behind. The desert, with its endless monotony, put him to dreaming. The boy could still see the palm trees, the wells, and the face of the woman he loved. He could see the Englishman at his experiments and the camel driver who was a teacher without realizing it. Maybe the alchemist has never been in love, the boy thought. The alchemist rode in front with a falcon on his shoulder. The bird knew the language of the desert well, and whenever they stopped, he flew off in search of game. On the first day, he returned with a rabbit, and on the second, with two birds.
Mm,
That makes me wonder if the falcon is the one that caught the two other
the Hawks.
hawks.
Yeah, I think so because falcons are, although they're smaller than hawks, they are more agile.
I thought falcon was just another word for a hawk, but it was trained.
Oh, it could be. That could be
They're also their
possible.
own thing.
I have heard that maybe because I think it was in Wheel of Time when I heard it, so maybe it's not true. But a falcon is a little smaller, but they're just more agile, and they could be related, and maybe they are the same thing. But I guess you could
I'll
look
read
it
it.
up.
It says any of several birds of prey of the family Falconidae, especially of the genus Falco, usually distinguished by long pointed wings, a hooked beak with a tooth-like notch on each side of the upper bill, and swift, agile flight, typically diving to seize prey. Some falcon species are close to extinction.
Ah,
All right, falconry. The female gerfalcon. Okay, I don't know what this is. But it also says any bird of prey trained for use in falconry.
oh.
A small light cannon in use from the 15th to 17th century. In military terms, a family of air-to-air guided missiles, some of them capable of carrying nuclear
What
warheads.
did you try searching like is a falcon a hawk, or are they the same thing? Because in the beginning it was given distinguishing characteristics, but I didn't know if it was just giving them a hawks too. Because I'm just curious.
Yeah, let me look that one up.
Remember, everybody, all you never get this kind of a great spiritual information and then practical information. You're going to know the difference between a hawk and a falcon if you don't already. Somebody probably already put it in the chat, and whoever it was, thank you. We
Okay,
appreciate
so
that.
they are different, but that word falconry,
It more refers to like birds of prey. So you could probably have a hawk and you use it with falconry and
yeah, I let me just see.
the falcon.
Falconry is hunting of game with falcons, the art of training falcons for hunting, the art of training falcons or hawks to pursue and attack wild fowl or game. So that's falconry. But
Oh,
an
okay.
actual falcon is different than a hawk. They're from different um,
Fail.
genus or species or whatever, families. They're different families.
That's how they say it in Wheel of Time because it's a character's name, Fail, in the old tongue, and it means falcon.
Hmm.
And they say that about a falcon. It's smaller, but it's swifter. So depending on that, so if you have one trained, you could totally sick it on a hawk or an eagle, probably. And I've seen that. I talked about. I think we talked about on the show. I saw no, three crows chasing an eagle, and it was a bald eagle. It was so crazy, in just like a parking lot of a store. And they chased it out toward the Long Island Sound. And then they came flying back one at a time. We saw them, and we were like, "Yay, go crows!" I was like clapping for them. I'm like, "Good job! You defended your neighborhood." Like it's crazy. And I've seen it a lot recently. A lot in like really tiny birds going after like either hawks or falcons. It's so funny. And they're like, "All right, I'll get out of here. I'm just trying to get a rabbit. I ain't, I'm not worried about
Yeah.
your eggs."
Yeah.
He's like, "Just leave me alone, man." But it's cool. It's cool to see that because also you're focusing on the omens, right? Because I saw that three crows chasing an eagle, and I did I say that on the last week's show? It was right before I found out that secret that I talked about last week about
Hmm.
my father's. Yeah. So was that an omen? Could it be? I mean,
Could have been an omen. Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder what the three uh, crows meant.
To me, I think it means it's like telling the eagle to go. Like you're not just go fly, man. Like you need to spread your wings. And there was no hate in the crows. They were just like not, it was like the crows are motivating the eagle to go, you know. It's the crows like, "Yeah, there's nothing here for you. Just get out of here, dude. This is like you don't want garbage. We're gonna eat the." I love crows, by the way.
Carrion.
Yeah, but we're carrions. You got to go hunt fish and go toward the water. Get yourself a big striped bass for dinner. Go get yourself a striped bass or a bluefish and leave us alone. But yeah, so I take it as a good omen. It's interesting though. It's this book. It's all because of this book. I'm looking at the omens. What can I do? I'm looking at the book. I read the book. It says, look at the omens. I see the omens. I gotta look at them. What am I gonna do?
You want to keep reading?
Yeah. You were reading, right? Or was I reading? Who was
I
it?
was reading.
Okay. Well, we're probably about 10. Oh, wait. How long have we been recording? I'm sorry. No,
Well, we were at started at 12:12
so we
and
still got to leave about 20 minutes for 2 hour mark, right? Around there.
yeah, so we
Okay.
can go for a little bit, maybe
Yeah.
finish this section or
Let's do
something.
it. All right, so you could finish, yeah, then I'll go once you finish the section. Or, we'll get to like a stopping point.
Okay. Where was I? The Alchemist Road in front. Is that where I'm?
Yeah.
Okay. He had said that maybe the alchemist has never been in love, the boy thought. The alchemist rode in front with the falcon on his shoulder. The bird knew the language of the desert well, and whenever they stopped, he flew off in search of game. Oh, I already read this part. On the first day, he returned with a rabbit, and on the second, with two birds. At night, they spread their sleeping gear and kept their fires hidden. The desert nights were cold and were becoming darker and darker as the phases of the moon passed. They went on for a week, speaking only of the precautions they needed to follow in order to avoid the battles between the tribes. The war continued, and at times the wind carried the sweet, sickly smell of blood. Battles had been fought nearby, and the wind reminded the boy that there was the language of omens, always ready to show him what his eyes had failed to observe. On the seventh day, the alchemist decided to make camp earlier than usual. The falcon flew off to find game, and the alchemist offered his water container to the boy. You are almost at the end of your journey, said the alchemist. I congratulate you for having pursued your personal legend. And you've told me nothing along the way, said the boy. I thought you were going to teach me some of the things you know. A while ago, I rode through the desert with a man who had books on alchemy, but I wasn't able to learn anything from them. There's only one way to learn, the alchemist answered. It's through action. Everything you need to know, you have learned through your journey. You need to learn only one thing more. The boy wanted to know what that was, but the alchemist was searching the horizon, looking for the falcon. Why are you called the alchemist? Because that's what I am. And what went wrong when other alchemists tried to make gold and were unable to do so? They were looking only for gold, his companion answered. They were seeking the treasure of their personal legend without wanting actually to live out the personal legend. What is it that I still need to know? The boy asked. But the alchemist continued to look to the horizon. And finally, Falcon returned with their meal. They dug a hole and lit their fire in it so that the light of the flames would not be seen. I'm an alchemist simply because I'm an alchemist, he said as he prepared the meal. I learned the science from my grandfather, who learned from his father, and so on, back to the creation of the world. In those times, the master work could be written simply on an emerald. But men began to reject simple things and to write tracts, interpretations, and philosophical studies. They also began to feel that they knew a better way than others had. Yet the emerald tablet is still alive today. What was written on the emerald tablet? The boy wanted to know. The alchemist began to draw in the sand and completed his drawing in less than 5 minutes. As he drew, the boy thought of the old king and the plaza where they had met that day. It seemed as if it had taken place years and years ago. This is what was written on the emerald tablet, said the alchemist when he was finished. The boy tried to read what was written in the sand. It's a code, said the boy, a bit disappointed. It looks like what I saw in the Englishman's books. No, the alchemist answered. It's like the flight of those two hawks. It can't be understood by reason alone. The Emerald Tablet is a direct passage to the soul of the world. And I want to stop there because I think there's some stuff to comment
Yeah.
about.
Hmm.
Um, the part where he says it's like the flight of those two hawks. It can't be understood by reason alone. It reminds me of the Tao, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can't just comprehend it through like the knowledge of this world or the reasoning of this world. It's like beyond that. Um, it's like a gnosis, like an inner knowing, right? That it's like a super conscious knowing, or I don't know how you would call that,
It's
subconscious knowing.
a lived experience. It's something you have to experience to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, because if somebody just saw three crows chasing an eagle, they'd be like, wow, that's cool. And, or if somebody was in the desert and just saw two hawks, they'd be like, oh, look at those two hawks fighting. But then he had the deeper, it like made it all click. And that's why I love Dune and Wheel of Time and all this stuff and Lord of the Rings for me, for me, everybody. But you should check it out too if you think it's good. But anyway, because as I'm listening to stuff, I'm using it as,
It provides a metaphor
yeah,
for life.
it provides a metaphor and things click into place and stuff. And it's also probably some good escapism, but whatever. We all need something. But anyway, not to make it about me, but yeah, that's why you read these omens and there's symbolism everywhere. You know, you, So you could learn to read these omens and just go with it. And it is, I think the Tao is a piece of it. You know, Michael Tessarion, he had it right. He has it right when he says that all these things, tarot, astrology, all this stuff, you could encompass more in that. All of this was in, could it be, it was like this ancient way of belief or science or just things that people knew. And they're pieces of it. And the Tao is a piece of it, you know. But then when you take the Alchemist and you put it together and you let it simmer, you're like, oh yeah, I could just kind of go with the flow like the Tao says. But now you have this alchemist, and it's great because the alchemy is like a Western kind of tradition. So whereas the Tao is like Eastern, so it's different in our culture. We don't understand as much. So it we don't understand their point of view. It's a lot different. I'll just say that, right? So whereas this alchemy stuff is more in the line of like the our culture. Our culture kind of springs out of this or whatever. It just lines up better, or however you want to look at it. So I think it's good to put them both together in that way, and you can use this alchemist book as again like a conduit or like a way to, like Sharon says, a focus point for your attention and stuff to make it all click and come together. As you have the Tao, because you know everyone, you just listen to our Tao series, right? Because we did a whole series on the Tao. Go check it out. We have a playlist for it on Brandon Bonanza YouTube channel. Anyway, yeah, I like how it's all coming together like that. It's really profound and in such simple words, you know.
Yes.
I feel like I'm reviewing
Um,
the book. What a
I'll
great
let
book.
I'll let you keep reading.
Okay. Yeah, I might as well. I feel pretty anxious to read it, or pretty not anxious. Pretty excited. That's not the right word, but
Yeah.
you know. All right, so there we go. The wise men understood that this natural world is only an image and a copy of paradise. I mean, okay, I'm gonna read that again. The wise men understood that this natural world is only an image. So what do we know about image? There's that space organization and they put out images all the time. They don't put out pictures. Okay, so the wise men understood that this natural world, netter, where's our Mark Passio fan? Mark Passio fans. Netter, right? Natural, this natural world, what we see, the physical, is only an image. What's an image? It's what that organization puts out. It's not a
The
picture.
fake. It's a copy. It's
And
not.
a copy of paradise. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
That was
Which makes me think of we were created in the quote image of God.
in the word created, could it just mean like a reflection? Because if you think of a reflection, what creates a reflection? The reflected thing, right? So, like, so we're a reflection, even, or not, maybe that's a poor term for it, but we're trying to touch it. And again, everyone, this is the mystery that you can't solve, but we're trying to point toward it. So don't get focused on our finger. We're trying to point, look, we're pointing to that
To the
Great Pyramid scheme. Don't
moon.
focus on this lovely giant finger. Look at you perverts out there. No, look at the Great Pyramid itself, or the Great Pyramid scheme itself. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, you guys get it. I think I talked that one down, but yeah,
The
that was
image
such,
of God. We were talking about we were created in the image of God.
yeah.
So I guess for me, I think of, you know, God as the ultimate thing, whatever, right? And if we're an image or images of, we're just, like it says, little copies or little, like Brandon was saying, projections and maybe, or reflections. And maybe also think of like a diamond, right? That has a bunch of facets, like maybe just one little facet of, or even a piece of the hologram, right? A piece of the hologram that contains everything in that little one piece. So, this natural world is only a little small image or an image or a copy of the real thing of paradise, right? So, in being an image, it's not even real. It's like when you take a 2D picture of something, you know, right? It's not like, okay, like, sorry, a picture of a person. I don't have a person,
We're
but like,
stuck in the mirror.
let's say that's a picture of a person, right? And you're like, no, that's him. And you're like, no, that's just a picture of him. Like, you can't lift him out and like make him walk and talk and stuff. That's just a little picture of him. He's not real. It's like out in the astral, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, the outside of this realm that we're like pretending to live in. We're those little images going around, and you know, the real is outside of that. We're just little like reflections or copies of what's really out there. Makes me think of Robert Monroe's work.
And if that's the case, right? If we're in this reflection, if we're literally stuck in the mirror, people will be like, well, why are we in this? Why can't we be in paradise? Well, what if when you're in paradise, your thoughts automatically become reality? It would be a fucking shit show if most of us were there. There'd just be elephants appearing and fucking like hookers for some people and like crack, like you'd be like, dude.
Well,
Like, what
that's
if your desire's automatically there? It's just like bang, you just have a yacht and a fucking, it's like, whoa. So we got to put you guys in the reflection until you figure it out. You could do whatever you want there. You know what? You could be Charles Manson. It's fine. I mean, the people there are going to hate you, but us out here, you just got to go there until you let it all out. We're in
yeah.
timeout right now.
But
All right, go ahead.
according to the books by Robert Monroe, and probably the Law of One, I would say, Ra, those who are experiencing this realm that we're in, which is all of us, we are actually, because we get to have this very unique experience that no other spiritual being has on any other realm, um, this 3D realm, Earth, that we're here on in whatever experiencing is unique. And so the people out there, like Brandon was saying, are cheering us on and are like, you lived through that? Like, you were a human being? Like,
You made it out of that crazy timeout
like,
chamber? You could do
wow.
anything you want in there. Most people get stuck in there and they just stay there till they're millionaires and try to live forever in there. Wait, you decided to not. I'm sorry, you're right, Sharon. Go ahead.
Yeah. You passed the test, like the human experience. And some of them are like, I want to do it too, you know? And so they'll come and jump right in. Like that, what's that movie? It's like a cartoon movie by Disney, I think. And it was about the souls. I think it was called
Oh,
Right Soul or something like
yeah,
that.
Soul Train or
Or
no, no.
I forgot what it was called, but it was like these little beings outside of the realm decide when they're going to jump in and then take take a, take a body and be born and stuff. That was
I
nuts
love it.
because
I
it's
saw I
scary.
saw previews. I haven't seen the movie, but I know the
Yeah.
concept and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, so and again, maybe we're wrong, but contemplate that that crazy stuff I said on that little rant, right? Contemplate that we're in a cosmic timeout over we're in hell or we're gonna go to hell. Like think about it, right?
It's
So
called Soul from 2020, just so you know.
what a great time to come out. See, guys,
I should
Disney isn't
watch it
all
again.
evil. They give you a little, they have to.
They have to.
So,
The world has to, I think.
because some people are fucking geniuses and they can't be denied and their works get put out no matter what and they touch and help people. But so what I was saying, right, this whole cosmic timeout, maybe that's not the case, but it's better to contemplate that because most people that think this is a physical place more, they're worried about going to hell or heaven. That's like a victim thing, right? More, I think. Think about we're just in a cosmic timeout, and we get to, we'll die. We just get put back in here, and then when we figure it out, we get to get let free. But you guys just need to chill out right now. Go enjoy the Earth for a while. Go live in a place where deer live
Get
next to
it, let it all
humans.
out. Just get it all
Yeah,
out.
get it out, man. And again, we're not saying we're very nonviolent people, everybody. We just
Mm.
believe in establishing boundaries and, self-defense. But other than that, we're chill AF, and that's what we promote. But we're just saying we don't judge those people who are out there going crazy. We use discernment. If they come toward us, we'll push them away and we'll tell people that they're terrible and all that stuff. But what we're saying is on the inside, we don't feel like victims, for example, to like a president or a country, a tiny country that has a lot of influence. People say we don't feel like we're victims to them because we realize that they're creating their own destruction. And in the process, they're creating a lot of resistance for us to be able to use to overcome our own issues. And that word projection that Sharon said earlier, it's so eloquent. What if we're just in a projection? Because that'd be so hilarious. Because I feel like most of the times, anytime we're pointing the finger, and we talk about this a lot, but it's really sinking into me, and I'm really starting to try to incorporate it a lot more in my life. But when you're pointing the finger at anyone else for any time you feel like you're out of off balance or mad or whatever, you're really just projecting. Because could it be we're in a hologram and it's all a projection? So when you're pointing out, you're literally projecting, and then you're also projecting in that sense of the term when we're talking about like narcissism and all that stuff. So it's like both senses you're projecting. So just don't
And
worry about what
Brandon
that
and
other person's doing. Go ahead. Yeah, what?
I was gonna say, and according to human design, Brandon and I are both projectors.
There's the omen. So when that other person's pissing you off, just be like, "Thank you, Krishna." Every time there's a truck behind me, it's blue and it's on my behind and I'm driving. I'm like, what? Thanks, Krishna, for bringing me back to reality. And I just laugh. I'm like, Krishna, aha, you didn't get me this time. Because what if this universe is just a giant ball busting machine, as we've said in the past, and these things just keep happening to give you a hard time. And as you just let it go, they just disappear. It's like the snake in the story. The alchemist just erases that circle, and you're like, all right, next one, what's that? And the circle becomes bigger, and then you go to the edge of that, and then it's bigger, and then before you know it, you're just ascend into the heaven. I don't know what happens, guys. I'm just, this is just my thesis, but anyway, could it be?
And if you are ever feeling like a victim, and I will try to keep this in mind too, just remember Gollum and remember that he takes it all with him when he goes.
He takes it all with him when he goes. I muted to cough. That was a
Yes.
perfect place. We should just end it right there.
We can.
We
I
can,
mean,
because yeah, we
we
can't do
didn't
that.
finish but we'll start
I'll
at
highlight it.
we'll highlight that. We'll read that sentence again
We're
because
gonna leave you on a cliffhanger,
it'll
everybody.
be a yeah,
How
it'll be a good
dare we do that?
it'll be a good what you call it?
Cliffhanger?
Um a
Starting
good
point?
cliffhanger. Yeah, a good recap.
Recap. Okay, yes. All right, highlight it here. All right, so I'll just highlight this sentence. All right, now I gotta get back to. Sorry, everybody. My mouse isn't fully working to its capacity. Here we go. I'm rolling with the punches, though. I'm not a victim because I can't get the cool Mac feature to work. I just go with it. Anyway, Sharon, you killed it with that whole Gollum thing, and because we have a few minutes, let's just read what the Lord of the Rings tarot has to say about the Gollum card because
Oh my God,
it's
yeah.
right there, and Sharon brought that up, and that's why I'm so frustrated because I'm supposed to be the comedian. I'm supposed to be the good one with good time, and Sharon keeps showing me up. She's so funny. No, I'm just kidding. I love it, everybody. It's great. All right, that was great to bring that back to Gollum. I'm still like reeling in it. Okay, it's got to be here somewhere. There he is. Okay, the Hanged Man, Gollum. Uh, Bound to the will of the One Ring, Gollum's life is sacrificed so the ring may be destroyed. Okay, so this would be card 12, the Hanged Man, right? He repres
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll read it again. Bound to the will of the One Ring, Gollum's life is sacrificed so the ring may be destroyed. He represents the hanged man as he understands what it is to have a shift in perspective so powerful that it alters the course of an entire existence. Whoa.
Dude.
Okay, so these are the meanings of the cards, and just so you know, I'll try to find the card, but it's Gollum basically looking into the lake, so he's upside down. Maybe you can see it. I do.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, right. You can
Uh-huh.
see that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, because I don't know. I'll look for the card. It might take a while. It's probably right there. Who knows? This card signifies. Oh, so the meanings upright. This card signifies that you are in a situation where you feel unhappy, dissatisfied, or like you
Feeling
can't
like a
make a
victim,
decision.
anybody? Figured.
Or like you can't make a decision. Stop pressuring yourself to control the outcome and instead try looking at things from a different angle, though maybe not over lava. Ah, I was like, what? Lava? Think of,
Let Gollum do the lava thing, okay?
yeah, it's a store, everybody. I mean, if you find yourself over lava, what are you gonna do? It was lava. What was I gonna do? I had to jump over it. Think of Gollum as a warning to examine your negative patterns, lest you be cursed with repeating
Oh,
them eternally.
shit. Oh my God.
Did
So
we
when
plan
you
this
think,
episode?
dude, this is great. So when you feel like a victim because of people of the world, certain people of the world that bother you, you can use that to look back at your own negative thoughts and behaviors. And just remember that people like Gollum take it all with them when they go.
What does it say in the Bible? Vengeance is mine, saith the
Oh,
Lord.
that's right.
And vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. So, yeah, you know what? You don't gotta worry. Those people are gonna cause their own destruction. You could just laugh at them.
Evil
Forgive them,
contains,
Father, for they know what they do. Go ahead.
and,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
as I quote Michael Tesserin, who quoted someone else, um, evil contains within itself the seeds of its own destruction.
I think that
So,
was Jordan Maxwell or one of those
what
guys,
was
right?
it? Jordan Maxwell. Okay.
Could have been. Yeah. Anywho, there's a bit more, everybody. Don't fret.
Oh,
We got a bit more toothpaste in the bottom of the. I don't recommend normal toothpaste. Anyway, there's a little more pudding at the bottom of the cup. All right. The reversed meaning. Sometimes making a significant decision can cause paralysis and lead to inaction. From there, negativity can fester. My precious. Okay. My precious. And turn you into a
Rinpoche.
nasty. Yeah. Rinpoche. From there, negativity can fester. My precious. And turn you into a nasty version of yourself. While you may currently feel comfortable in your limbo, what do we talk about? Feeling comfortable, right? Like when the alchemist says you could stay here, dude, but
Yeah, 5 years later, this is what's going to happen.
while you may currently feel comfortable in your limbo, you are being urged to make a choice. You will never know what's possible until you try. There is no try. We watched this thing about Bukowski, and on his grave it says, "Don't try." It says, "Don't try." He's like, "Why bother fucking trying?" He's like, "Just do it, dude." He's like, he has this poem. We should read it, and it's like, drink the fucking drink. He's like, just whatever it takes, like to do your art. He's like, whatever you got to do, or like to do your, fucking do it and just do it. And I was like, whoa. He's like, don't try.
Nike doesn't say just try.
Yeah. And it's the apophatic. Don't try. He's not telling you to do anything.
Yeah.
He's just saying, don't try, because Nike's making claims and telling you what to do. Don't tell me what to do, Nike. Don't tell me what to do. Just
I
do it.
listened
Don't
to
tell me
Charles
what to do.
Bukowski, okay? He's
I don't
telling you
try.
not to try.
All right, everyone. What a fabulous episode. Thank you. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Sharon. Shout out to me. Shout out to the realm just for existing long enough and not ending in a nuclear holocaust. Just kidding.
Shout out to the golems of the world who
Yeah,
take
shout out to
it all with them when they go.
my I can't. I sound more like Yoda. Anyway, shout out to Smeagol. All them out there. They're making the world go round or stay stationary or whatever you believe. It's all a tourist field, so I
We're
guess it is.
providing for the Kali Yuga that we're in.
Yeah, it's just that this, you know what it was? The real world is so cool because there's not a lot of people right now because everyone's so freaked out. So they had to be put in timeout. So there's a lot of timeouts in here. So maybe when enough people heal themselves and get to the real world, this place will chill out too and there'll be more of a balance. Maybe that's what it is, right? Maybe the correct balance is both worlds are pretty chill, but right now there's like a golden age going on in the real world and we're experiencing the reflection, right? And it just swings back around and all lines up. So hey, maybe this is the time to go. No, I'm just not going to make claims. I'm just saying we don't have to judge anyone. That's all I'm saying before we really start a cult.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. Shout again to the chat. More laws, more problems.com is the website. Check it out. Click on the Oversharing tab. And the best way to support us is to be here every single solitary Thursday when we either premiere or go live, which is most Thursdays. Sometimes we take a break here and there, but most Thursdays you can catch us here in the chat if we're not live. And if we're live, you'll get our live voices and you can ask us stuff in real time. But if you have any questions, just leave a comment. We want to hear from you. We love comments. So let us know what you think. And I think that's it for that. Anything else you want to add to the episode, Sharon?
I was going to say that when I say it, when they take it all with them when they go, I just mean all the negativity and quote evil things and victimy things that they do. And I say they, I just mean people like Gollum.
Yeah, the people who cause this disturbance, they take it with them when they leave. So don't fret. In fact, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that causes total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will pass over and through me. And when it's gone by, I will turn the inner eye to see his path. Where it is gone, there will be nothing, only I will remain. He felt calmness return. All right, there you go, guys.
Oh, the
There's
it is the ring that rules them all.
You're right. And look at Tom Bombadil. He doesn't have any effect by the ring. He's just, I'm older than that ring. He's like, I was here before the ring. I'll be here after it. I'm
I'm
just Tom
still
Bombadil.
here.
And what does he do? He sings everything. All right. I think you guys get deep enough. But have a great weekend, everybody. And, keep oversharing and just be easy on yourself. I guess that's all we have to say. All right. Well, what do we say to the good people, Sharon?
That once you start over Sharon,
Then you totally stop over Karen.
that's right.
And remember, everybody, we're really not trying to tell you how to live your life.
We're telling you, don't try.
Don't try. All right, everybody. See you later. Ciao. Peace.